We have a, yeah, it's not enough. Just, weird. Everybody take a hike. Hello, good game. Welcome back, ghouls and goblins. I hope you're all having a magical day. Thank you so much for hanging out, supporting the channel. While you're here, make sure to like the video. It helps so much. And of course, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, get in on that, because at 35,000 subs, I'll be giving away a complete rare playset to the latest D&D expansion. So you do not want to be a dawdlebug on that. Hit that subscribe button. And then once you've done that, definitely check out the link tree to find out all of our community links. You know, I've got a lot of Easter eggs hidden in there within you guys as well. So today we'll be playing with Izzet Giants in Standard 2022, and we're killing it. We're beating Prismari Dragons. We're beating Mono Green. We're beating Dimir Control. So we're doing it all with a deck that was almost untouched by rotation and remains incredibly strong. We're going to break down the deck list, talk about the strategies, the synergies, show the playlines and interactions throughout the gameplay footage, and then wrap up with our final thoughts and deck review. So again, welcome to the channel if you're brand new. My name's HGG and I'll be your tour guide today. Like that video, subscribe to the channel, check out the link tree, and then you're all caught up, right? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's get into it. All right, Izzet Giants Standard 2022, 4.6 average mana value with 21 non-creatures, 15 creatures, 24 land in the deck. Pretty heavy mana curve, so if you wanted to go 25, I would totally understand. We are not, however, because we have mana ramp through artifact treasure generation, which is really cool, and the spell cost reduction available as well. So first things first, let's talk about the ideal playline that the deck was built around, and then we'll go out from there and you'll kind of understand how the my build process goes, and hopefully this helps you as an individual as well with your own decks. So Cyclone Summoner, my favorite card, 7/7 for 7. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, return all permanents to their owner's hands except for giants, wizards, and lands. We have a giant tribal deck, so none of our creatures are going to get bounced. We're going to bounce everything of our opponents, right? We used to use Simic or Temur for this build because of all the ramp that we had, right? We don't really have that in the sense that we did in the past with the Cultivate, we still have Emergent Ultimatum, but there's not enough green to support it in the deck, right? So we're using treasures instead, and getting to that Cyclone Summoner very early should help us reset the field and survive just like a field wipe would. But it gets better than that because we also have a field wipe if we need, or kind of a makeshift field wipe. Battle of Frost and Fire for 5 damage, or for 4, oh my god. You guys know my deal. For 5 mana, dealing 4 damage to each non-giant creature and planeswalker for its ETB, and then on our next draw step, scry 3, and then on the following draw step, whenever you cast a mana value 5 or greater creature this turn, or even card this turn, it can be a non-creature, you'll get to draw 2 cards and discard a card. So this is very good. It's basically a draw, and you get to sift through your library, maybe toss a land away that you don't need because you're already at 5 or 6 at that point, and pull some firepower out. So that's what the deck was made around, right? Cyclone Summoner, we're building around this. We don't have green to ramp into it anymore. What do? Well, we get into the build with treasures. And then, since we're running the Summoner, we don't have green in the build anymore. Let's definitely include the Giant Tribal Wipe. There's the Draconic Intervention for dragons. Why not use the Giant variant for ourselves? So that's kind of, where we started with the deck. And then how can we get to these spells really quick? We already mentioned the treasures. Prismari Command for 3 mana, instant speed, choose 2 damage to any target. Target player draws 2, then discards 2. Target player creates a treasure token or destroy target artifact. I'm all over the place today. You guys are familiar with the card. You know what it does though. And this can create a treasure for us that we can utilize for mana. It can also deal some damage, which is quite nice. We can also use it to discard our Quakebringer from our hand into the graveyard because it is just as effective in the grave. Your opponents can't gain life. Well, it has to be in the field for that part, so I stand corrected once more. At the beginning of your upkeep, Quakebringer deals 2 damage to each opponent. This ability triggers only if it is on the battlefield or in the grave and we control a giant, right? So we do need a giant in play. If it fulfills itself, that's great. If it's in the graveyard and we have another giant, that's cool as well. And this is a stackable effect for that 2 damage. And it also will double down through the Calamity Bearer, which is really nice. A 3/4 for 4. If a giant source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to permanent or player instead. Very, very good. So, you know, for each Quakebringer in the graveyard, we're dealing 2 damage. That 2 damage gets turned to 4 when a Calamity Bearer is in play, and that's stackable both on the Calamity Bearer's end and on the Quakebringer's end, which is pretty crazy. So, you know, just that together is going to get the job done. So, you know, that's our damage output for the deck. I'm only mentioning this while we're away from the treasures and the ramp into the heavy spells, because we're talking about the discard from Prismari Command, right? So going through this, maybe, you know, taking tangents, but we'll get there, don't worry. So that's kind of the damage output of your deck. First, we looked at the control aspect, Summoner, Battle of Frost and Fire. Now we have the, you know, the aggro side of it, which is the Bearer and the Quakebringer. The ramp side with Command. And then, of course, we have the Opus as well. We can discard for 2 to create a treasure token. Instant speed for 8 if we choose to hardcast it. Dealing 4 damage, divided as we choose among any number of targets. Tapping 2 permanents, creating a 4/4 token, and then drawing 2 cards. At instant speed, this is very, very good. And being able to ramp with it is nice as well. Moving away from that, we have Invasion of the Giants. This doesn't generate treasure, but it is a spell cost reducer. When it enters play, scry 2. Next up, draw a card, reveal a giant. If we do, deal 2 damage to opponent or planeswalker. Then finally, your next giant spell will cost 2 less to cast this turn, which is really nice. So we can throw out the Cyclone Summoner as early as turn 4. Turn 2, Invasion of the Giants, right? On turn 3, you get your draw and 2 damage. And on turn 4, you get -2 generic mana for your next giant spell. On turn 3, right, because we cast this on turn 2. On turn 3, we have Prismari Command, generating an artifact for ourselves, the treasure, or Magma Opus doing the same. On turn 4, we play our 4th land. We have this reduced by 2, and of course we have that treasure as well. So it's 7, we reduce it by 2 is 5, and then we use our 4 land on turn 4 and the treasure for that 5 mana that we're missing. Boom, turn 4, Cyclone Summoner. You bounce the field and continue from there. This should be really, really good, unless your opponent's having an empty field, a hard time with their match, or their control deck, at which point maybe you hang back. Maybe you just use that ramp for the Quakebringer, the Calamity Bearer, you know, the Freezing Flame, a 3/3 for 3. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess damage, if a giant wizard or spell you control dealt damage to it this way, draw a card, right? This is very good. We'll get some draws. We have Squash to combo with that, dealing 6 damage to creature or planeswalker for 2 if we control a giant, if not for 5 at instant speed. Very, very good for removal, you know, getting rid of some of those bigger dragons for us right now. We have a single copy of Glimpse the Cosmos. Look at the top 3, 1 into our hand, the rest on the bottom. We can recast it from our grave if we control a giant for 1. So good value there, helping us find whatever spell we need. 3 copies of Hall of the Storm Giants. For 6 mana, it will become a 7/7 with Ward 3. That's really nice. So you will need the 7 mana in play to use it as an attacker, but it is a very worthy attacker at that. And it is also a giant, which fits great with the deck. So I'm confident in this deck. We've got the pathways here for land consistency and some basics. I'm really, really happy with the way that this deck is performing. Like I said, your main objective is to survive. And this means controlling the match through, you know, wiping out aggro decks through Battle of Frost and Fire, resetting aggro decks and mid-range decks through the Cyclone Summoner, and then pushing the control decks to their limit and putting them on a timer through the damage output of, you know, primarily the Quakebringer, but also, you know, the Calamity Bearer can definitely speed that clock up as well. And we have a little bit of chip damage through Invasion and our Prismari Command. Keep that in mind too. Both of these will do 2 damage to our opponent if we want. 4 copies of each. That's a lot of damage, right? Potentially adding that onto the Quakebringer as well. And if we hardcasted Magma Opus, you know, there's a ton of damage output in this deck. So first survive, then establish yourself, and get into the end zone for the health points. That's the deck. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like the video if you haven't done so yet. It really does help. Subscribe to the channel to win a complete rare playset, and definitely investigate, go for a little snoop through the Linktree link. Everything from the community invites, this Spotify playlist that I listen to all the time while I create content, and you know, you can support through Patreon and stuff there, as well as our affiliate links. So cheers. I hope you guys all have a magical day. Enjoy today's gameplay footage, and we'll be back to wrap up in just a little bit. Our opponent plays first. We have turn 2 Invasion, turn 3 Opus Discard, turn 4 Quakebringer, and Squash potentially. I'm sure I talked about the deck in the intro, so I'm not going to brag about my playline here. You guys already know what I want to do. Let's see what they are doing, and if there's counter magic here. What's going on, Willis? Didn't seem like there was a hang-up. Maybe there's a draw spell. I guess we keep both lands. Let me toss a red. We already have a second red. This is going to be our second island, and I'm sure we'll draw more. Right? We'll draw more lands. We always do. Ooh, Valley. And they're ramping to it. 6 damage on Valley is a thing. It's a 5/5. Don't think they're playing it next turn, though. I'm going to show the Quakebringer. It's a, I think, weird thing to do, but best for us. And now, do we ramp, or do we just keep going with invasions? Could just zap them and make a treasure. Let's keep digging. Maybe we want a Cyclone Summoner. Lands can go. We have our eyes set on the Summoner. It's kind of not actually that great. We want more squashes, I think, because Velomachus has haste. And we don't want that. We'll reveal the same giant. I guess we should have played the red source and held up Squash. They just bounce it back to our hand, so it doesn't matter. That's okay. They're sitting on 4, 5. They need 7. Oh, it was in their grave. I didn't even realize that. Okay. Alright, alright, alright. So they have no counters, but more stuff to bring it back. Let's go Quakebringer. And then we hold up Squish once they go to their attack phase. And now they need to counter it. They do. Kind of. I mean, we still get the kill on it, but They are learning and they're free casting from their library. We're taking another 5 damage. And they slay our Quakebringer for free. You dog. Good play, good play. So we need 6. There's no way they have more counter magic. Them on tap. Hopefully it doesn't burn us twice. I want to kill it on their attack step here, so they don't just bring it back from the grave because it has haste. It forces them to have the counter spell, whereas we know they have the graveyard recursion. Down to 10. It's not great. Sciences is fine, whatever. So we're dealing 4 damage here. We have 6, 7, 8. That's our turn. I want to draw 2, discard 2, and get rid of the lands and make a treasure. Or potentially do 2 damage, but let's see what happens here. Like, we have 7. We just need 1 land, I guess. Yeah, so this is kind of what we didn't want. It's very bad. Down to 1? I don't think we can do that. Well, we definitely can't now. Good on him. I should redo my Grixis Reanimator. This way we can toss both lands and still have 8 available mana. Down to 3. Does not feel good. 4. 8 mana, we can wipe the field, but then they're just going to hit us with it again. Same goes with the Cyclone Summoner. So they get quite lucky here, in my opinion. No counter spells. Let's go for it. But again, you know, it's just going to hit us again with haste from the grave. And that's really, really bad. Game. Woof! Reanimator is tough. Going first. We don't mind it. There's no turn 2. Well, I mean, there is a turn 2, but it's not the turn 2 we want. Mono green is going to get tore up by this deck, I'm pretty sure. We do very well against creature-based deck. Toss it over. pass our turn. We command the creature they put the token on from Ranger's class. Let's kill the wolf. No snakeskin veil, it went right through. The troll. Troll's frustrating, but we can get around it eventually. And even right here. Should we? Yes. If you ever ask that question, should we? It's probably a yes. So we take it now before it can go to a 5/5. They get the ramp. Hooray. Chariot's good. I'm going to bounce the heck out of those tokens, though. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. This way we can spend the token and hit our next 2 land drops. But I think I want to bounce immediately. It's a nice creature. We'll see though, right? They crew the Chariot, push it to 5, or what? Through the Chariot, Blizzard Brawl, and then push it up. Two, 4, 5, 6. Next turn 7. No blocks. Take the damage. We have plenty of life. Let's take our 2 damage. Land in play. Get bounce. And we draw 2, discard 1. Land can go. And we hit for 5. So they still have lots of value, but they're going to need to replay it. And they lost their land ramp through the troll as well, which I really like. I never thought about that. They get the creature back, sure, but shutting them down for a little bit is nice. The summoner can slam in, and they just block with one of the wolves, or like a cat or something. 14 damage. Maybe we should put trample on our creatures. I never thought of that once. I'm going to be honest. It would be a good deck for trample. We'll get there. Right, like we're dealing 4 damage just on our upkeep. That is nice. Still think we just take it. That's a ton of damage. We might be getting ourselves into a space we don't want to be in. We should defend with the summoner, I guess. My bad. 4 damage here, though. Let's glimpse it up. Maybe looking for a squash. Ooh. We only have 4 mana. If we had 5, this invasion of giants would dominate our opponent. We should have discarded this earlier. This kind of sucks for us. Let's take what we can play. No attacks. We have 8 life. They have to kill us this turn. I think we're okay. I'm pretty sure we just survived because we're so tough, right? Nothing's hitting that 7/7. I think this is good. We definitely should have discarded this the turn before when we had mana and then we could have wiped their entire field, right? And then attacked for lethal. Instead of being greedy, like, oh, maybe I can cast this in a couple turns. Just like, get that value now, use the mana as it comes. Okay, so they'll use that to crew it. Very good. They could Hydra for like 2. Okay. So we have 8 life. 2, 4, 6, 7. Oh, now it goes to 8. That could be risky. I guess this is at least important to survive, but it will survive anything. Quakebringer can be in the grave, and then these just need to survive, right? And that should be lethal on our end. They're hitting for 4, 5. The Quakebringer is allowed to be in the grave for the ability to trigger. And then with the 2 Calamity Bearers in play. Good game, Mono Green. Not today. This might not be a good hand. I don't want to mulligan, though. 3rd land off the top. We're all okay. Uh-oh. Turn 1 Ghast is bad news bears for us. We get a pretty cool turn 2. So now turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, all perfect. Try 2, looking for Battle of Frost and Fire. Heck yeah, and we want the land on top. Good news, good news. I think we leave the Ghast in play and not give them the treasure and just kill the 1/1 pest. I'm pretty sure that's the go-to move here. Do we take it now, or do we wait and see what they play? Because they're just going to cast this. But then they'll be out of mana and not be able to Village Rites. Yeah, pass turn. It's either Magma Opus or Command. I mean, since we're wiping, we could just leave it and Command. Or Opus, I mean. Yeah, I'm just going to Opus, I think. Save Command for later. Right, we might need that damage output. I'm going to throw the Freezing Flame out, and then we're holding up Squash. If they play anything threatening. We also get a draw from that. Taking it slow. Well, I'm not proud of it, but what if it's an Avatar? And we slay the Avatar. Gotcha! Could be good. Of course, we'll still have to sacrifice the flame. We don't do excess damage. We don't get a draw. Really funny. I guess we should have wiped the field. Oh, we had to sack first? We couldn't put Squash on the stack. I thought we could put Squash on the stack. Like, it entered, and then we had to sack. But it's part of the spell, not the creature. I should have known that. Oh my gosh. Well, that's a misplay. We should have wiped the field the turn before. Now we're screwed, right? Now we just are gonna lose. Now we're just gonna lose. Goldspan Dragons off the top, too. Are you kidding me? What a dingling. You seen it here first, folks. Totally could have been avoided. We should have just wiped the field. I was being greedy. And then I thought we had the answer for it. You learn a little something new every day. That is a pretty awkwardly weighted hand. Not that it's bad. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. Haul first in case we pull a mountain. Second up, Glimpse. Third up, Commands. Ooh, see? Let's grab a Flame. This is top 138. Someone who plays with probably the same deck a lot. That means they're very good at it, right? They don't make those misplays like I made last game. We do have an advantage, and that is they don't know what deck we're playing. Pull out some removal here. We should have maybe waited till next turn and we could have gotten the draw off it. But at the end of the day, if they have removal, I want it out of their hand, right? Like, just, come on. They're playing slow too, so that's really nice. I'm just going to take the sorcery right away. I think the Quakebringer is most important, just for chip damage. Let's try to hit for 3. We do. Four. Next turn we have 5. We can play it anyways. We're not playing the Summoner. I'm going to end turn, hold up Prismari Command. And then that way there's interaction. We'll be okay. They're chilling, right? Let's do 2 damage and create a treasure token. We could have discarded the Quakebringer to the grave if we wanted for 2 damage, but I want to play it this turn. Attack first. Then they think we might have protection. Quakebringer in play. Is there a counterspell? This is something we don't mind going to the grave, as long as it doesn't go to exile. It's a good card, that's for sure. The Freezing Flame's decent as well if we can start getting some draws from it. Even, you know, attacking, they're down to 12. And this is going to deal some damage from the grave. So they counter this. It does damage if they don't kill the flame. They kill the flame. This enters play, they kill it after our upkeep. And then they don't. No, then they do still take the damage from it being in play. I don't think there's a way around it. It's alright. Think. It's okay. I'm thinking too. That's something I need to do more of, is think, right? So I'm going to send out some hearts. It's totally okay. Totally okay. We do not mind, right? We only berate people when they're playing a deck we don't like. And there's no Salty Ultimatum. There's no toxic Dimir Mill Rogues for a big reason. They do counter this. Goes to the grave, that's fine. Fabled Passage is gone, right? It basically nuked all landfall decks. You can use Evolving Wilds, sure, but it's not Fabled Passage. It is not the same. Okay, we get removed here. No damage to them. There's nothing in play for them, really, for us to bounce. Do they still have more removal? Nice. Okay. That's alright. They're playing this out absolutely perfectly. It's almost like they know. Ooh, that they need to hurry up. Let's pass our turn. Right, you can't take it too slow with us either, that's the thing. You can't go entirely too slow because we'll get you. Right, we've got some graveyard heaters. As soon as we're in play with giants, and you know, we're gonna have a 4/4. We're gonna be drawing more cards, we're gonna be dealing 4 damage. So unless they can play Professor Onyx and start taking advantage of that Magecraft for life gain, or you know, maybe there's some other form of life gain I'm unfamiliar with competitively right now in a Dimir control deck. Could be. Just, you know, Erebos Intervention's not in 2022 anymore, so could be something. I'm not sure what it is. Interesting. Invasion is fine. Go ahead, burn a counterspell on it. I do not mind. Scry 2's great. Land is actually good for us right now. And you see what was under that land? We seen what was under that land? Uh-oh. The plot thickens. It's a 5/2. Lethal in 4. Alright, they're making a move. We get hit for 7 here. If they hold up counter magic, they win. Right? If they have multiple counter spells in hand, it's over. Professor with no Magecraft on top. They're totally tapped. Very good news for us. Well, it's not good news that they have it, but it's good news that they're tapped. They actually take a life loss here, I think, down to 10, do they not? Or they must have been at 12. We had 2 more damage in here. We should have hit Lily, actually, with that damage. Maybe. We have 8. Yeah, it's not enough. Just... Whoop. Everybody take a hike. This is Cyclone Summoner's turn. So Lily minus, Professor Onyx minus. We get the Scry 2, draw a card, deal damage again. That's kind of good. And then we've got 8 damage in hand. So if they're going to tap out, that's fine by me. I mean, they have to remove the Summoner. We know they have Onyx and the Lich in hand. But they also have 5 other cards, I'm pretty sure. Not 7 other cards. They have 9 cards in hand right now. They kick a Thirst. They're down to 3 mana. It must be a counterspell, right? I'll take the Scry. They're not going to counter that because they're scared of other things. This would be good. So expensive, though. That, on the other hand, is very nice. Let's pass our turn. We want to reveal this summoner from our hand for another 2 damage. Okay, so there's Poison the Cup. We get to draw as well, which is really good. Let's show them the bear. 2 damage in. Really good stuff here as well. And I'm going to pass my turn. They're going to Draco Lich. Which we let enter, and then we slay it. I guess tap a tap land. 2 and 2. And that's going to keep our health points up and active. It could be the... Actually, no, I think that counter blue for 1 is gone, maybe even. Mystical Dispute. Down to 5. Next giant is cheaper. And if we have 4 in play, so they need to remove the token for sure. We have plenty of firepower in hand. We've been able to hold value with them, which is nice. Typically, against a control deck, that is hard. Let's get that giant haul in right away. Hit for 4. They slay it for 2. Get the Scry. They have, if they play their 8th land, enough to play Professor and counter to gain life. So we have to play the Bearer right now, I think, rather than playing the Opus. I think we have to go straight for the Bearer. And then Onyx minuses. Let's end our turn. We still have 6 mana. Ebon Lich in play. Just crush it. Don't let it be around. Just get rid of it while you can. Because if they have counterspells and removal, and they just attack for 2 turns, right? Like, we really need to make sure that we're always pushing our agenda first and never let them get an inch. So they have to remove this. They bounce it. They take a learn. They have 5 available mana. Interesting. My turn. Mountain. Get rid of the tokens. Scry 2. Can't argue with that. So this turn they need to remove the Cyclone Summoner. They have 8 mana. It's enough to play their 9th, play Professor for 3 minus, then hold up Counter Magic next turn. I think that's the play line. I'm not entirely sure. I guess that's what we don't want to see. At which point they will need both Counter Magic and removal, because we could go with the Hall instead. So that makes it a little harder for them. They have to have removal and Counter Magic, and then it's like they both have to be instant speed. So we get away with it, maybe. And of course, you know, we're just pulling, you know, heater after heater off the top. So a very good game, and they are not a top ranked player for no reason. So we need to remain vigilant, right? Let's stay on our game, not pretend like we've won it. They could come back at any second. I'm a little nervous, right? They're definitely thinking about their play lines. We have 2 damage next turn. They're down to 3. Again, I do not mind the thought process. Take your time. And then we get to see your cool big brain play line, right? The last time they did this, they had the perfect set of answers. So let's assume that that exact thing will take place again. Let's just try to breathe. Stay calm. The Cauldron discards, makes a pest. They have 5 mana. We get the damage from the Quakebringer. I don't think they're expecting that, because that's 2, and we get another 2 here. We have 10 mana. So they're going to, for free, discard, make a pest. And then they have a Haven for double blockers. We'd have 5 mana left over with the Hall. 4 if it got interrupted. I'm going to attack, and then I'm going to use the Opus to tap whatever they get up to. So they're going to need a counterspell. Should we kill the pest? Or just tap it? Just tap it. Actually, yeah, I think we have to do it right now. We have 3 mana, which isn't enough for anything. We forced them to have a counterspell. Oh, what was I doing? Oops. We meant to tap... Oh my god. We meant to tap the pest. I meant to tap the pest. I meant to tap the pest. Sometimes, you guys. Okay, so this match is going to be a little harder than I thought. Maybe they just counter it and we don't even have to concern ourselves with it. Well, this still gets tapped. I think we just have lethal. Yeah, okay. We don't have to worry about it. I totally was going to tap the pest there. Oh my gosh. That was one stellar match. I got to go back and say good game. Give the hearts one more time. That was good. We were going to tap the pest, though. We should have tapped the pest, the Haven, dealt damage to their person. I don't know. I got distracted with this ice tunnel for some reason. Give me a break. Let's talk about the deck and break it down. Alrighty. Did not disappoint. I disappointed myself. That match with the Avatar. Holy. We probably could have won that match if we just went for Battle of Frost and Fire, wiped the field, and they wouldn't have been able to get Avatar out. You know what I mean? We just set ourselves up for failure. I was too greedy. And, you know, I do those things. I go for gold to show you guys that if you have the ability to gain advantage while playing it safe, that's probably your go-to. Probably your go-to. Sure, the greed factor might work out, but what's 5 extra damage when it's not lethal, right? Or even if it is, what's an extra turn? So let's try to reflect on those things, learn as a group. You know, I know I'm definitely learning. I just hope you guys are too, right? So have a great day. Enjoy. Check out some more of my content, and we'll see you soon in the next.